Good day. It is Erin Esser from Conscious Rebellion. It's been a long time since I have done a podcast, so I thought there would be no better time to um, to tell you about this eclipse that is coming in on November 8th. So as you can see on the screen, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, you will see the astrology chart for you and for your reference of November 8th, which is the lunar eclipse. This happens because, as you can see here, this is just basic astrology here right now, but I want to show you on the chart so you can follow along. You can see where I'm moving this cursor around the sun. This is the glyph for the sun. And this is at 16 degrees exact Scorpio. Okay. If you go all the way across the moon, 16 degrees Taurus exact. So this is what makes a full moon. We have an eclipse here on this day as well too. So this is these are powerful energies. And right now we are in the eclipse window. Many people have been feeling this already. Even if you're not tuned into the astrology, you may have been feeling a little off, maybe outside of this world a little bit. Maybe time is playing, quote unquote tricks on you. Whatever that is for you, tune into how you've been feeling. That's one of the biggest things right now, especially with the Taurus-Scorpio axis that we're on. Remember, Scorpio here and Taurus. Tuning into how we feel is so foreign to most of us. So even if it means Googling feelings chart or something like that, or a list of feelings, oftentimes what I'll do in the morning, I'll get up and I just tune into myself, like, how am I feeling today? And it could be 3, 4, 5 different things. And guess what? A couple of those could be in conflict with each other. So our mind tries to make sense of it. Like, well, I can't feel excited, but also, angry at the same time, or fearful, or whatever that is, right? But it is, because we're complex beings. So the more that we can understand how we feel and tune into that through this time, the better equipped we are going to be able to navigate these energies. So if you haven't listened to my channel before, this is Conscious Rebellion. I've had this phrase in my mind since probably 2017, 2018. And this is about how can we tune in, knowing what is happening in the world, what has been happening for a very long time. It's just coming to the surface. We're starting to see it. We're all starting to awaken, so to speak, to see what has been lying under the surface. And so how we can have a conscious rebellion is when we can be aware of how we feel. We can be conscious of our emotions, conscious of why we're doing what we're doing, and have, tune into ancient wisdoms that are truly for our future, to swing this, pull back to a true, pure, creative energy that is not looking to the outside for control, for authority, but that is self-sustaining within itself. So, and this is really so much about Scorpio energy and Taurus energy. Taurus is, Mars and Pluto rule Mars and Pluto rule Scorpio. So if you think about that, Mars is a warrior, but Pluto also goes to the depths of hell to be able to come up to the surface to reveal what it has. Pluto is power, but Pluto is also about integrity. And Pluto is about the truth. And Pluto in its highest form. Most people don't want to see the truth because it's to the depths of who we are, or the depths of corruption of what we've been living through and been blind to, because we want to see at the surface. However, Scorpio, which we had this the 25th of October, we had a solar eclipse in Scorpio. It was a new moon. And so things are starting to come up from the depths, up from, the what do I want to say? I guess just the depths of hell, so to speak, the depths of underneath the surface. We're no longer satiated with the surface stuff. And if you are a very Plutonian type of person, if you have Pluto dominant, if you have Scorpio dominant in your chart, aspects like this, you're not okay with surface talk even. For me, I have Pluto in my third house and it's conjunct my moon. And third house is the house of communication. So I have to go to the depths of every topic to be able to feel truly satisfied in how I'm communicating, what I'm receiving in communication, and how I'm giving communication. So anyway, let's move on. So we are in this eclipse season. Like I said, if you're feeling off in any way, check that. Check in with yourself to see how you feel and what you feel, even if it seemingly conflicts, with, even if a couple emotions conflict with each other, that's okay. Okay, so this is going to be what they call a blood moon. So, from the practicality standpoint, you're going to be able to go out and see this moon turning a blood red color, orangey, bloodish red color. If you, now I'm going to be speaking from the Eastern time zone. So between 1 a.m. roughly and about 6 or so in the morning, you'll be able to see the process of this. If there's only one time that you want to get up and take your camera out and take a picture or just take a look at it, if you're on Eastern time zone, that would be right around the 5 o'clock mark in the morning. So 5 a.m. So if you are in Pacific or Mountain or Central, adjust the time accordingly. So this eclipse is going to last an hour. And here's the interesting thing. This is happening on election day. So I'm not going to get into politics here, but I want you to keep that in mind as I go through what this eclipse could bring up in the collective and also in your own life. So the thing about eclipses is things change fast, very, very fast. And it's to get us back on track to what we're here for, to our destiny. So if this eclipse energy feels very hard for you or very challenging, it's an opportunity to look deep within and say, okay, where am I not aligned in my life? And I'm going to go through a little bit later the houses. So depending on what rising sign you are, which is easy to find, just figure out your rising sign or ascendant sign, and you'll be able to know that. And if not, just contact me and we can do a mini reading or I can point you in the direction of so that you can run your chart. So eclipses, like I said, they bring things in, they bring things out very rapidly. Sudden changes, sudden, oh my gosh, just sudden rapid change. So what may seem completely out of the blue today might be completely in your reality, come this eclipse. And you might even be seeing little glimpses of it now. Just that's again, pay attention. This is the key, is to pay attention so that you don't get completely uprooted, so to speak, in your life. It's okay to get uprooted when we are moving in, beautiful and wonderful areas, right? But if you're completely unconscious, if you're listening to this, though, you're probably not in that camp. But if you're not paying attention to how you feel, if you're not paying attention to these areas in your life that this eclipse is happening around, which is the Taurus-Scorpio axis, look to see where Taurus is in your chart. Look to see where Scorpio is in your chart. You're going to see the themes that are going to be at play for you during this time. So if you have planets in Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius, these are the fixed signs between I would say 12, 13 degrees to 18 to 20 degrees, right in there. This is going to be very powerful energy for you to work with. So we can use this as a tool of growth and alignment, or it will use us. So it's our choice. And we do have some choice in this lifetime, right? So we have a choice to be conscious or the choice not to be conscious. And sometimes actually the choice not to be conscious brings in the consequence of being conscious, because sometimes it's too painful to not be conscious, where what happens to us then, because of we're not conscious, all of a sudden we get a rude awakening and we're like, oh shit, I need to pay attention more. So that may happen to you too. And all of that is well and good. So the Scorpio Taurus themes, it's all about value, how you value yourself, finances. What are you spending money on? What's leaking, right? Just from a practical place, what's leaking out of your budget? Maybe it's time to check that. What are you investing in? Is it truly have a beautiful return? What is the return on investment of what you're putting in with your time, your money, your energy? This is Taurus. So making sure it is the highest of value, where you're going to get the highest return on your investment. Are you in relationships? Any relationship, friendship, partnership, work, anything like that, romantic, children, where your investment is so big that the return though on that investment is like, maybe you get frustrated, maybe you feel bitter, maybe you feel angry. These are the things to take a look at, because these are the things that are going to change. So this is all about your self-love. This is about how you're valuing yourself. And, Scorpio can be at the lowest expression of Scorpio, right? This is the axis. So these are opposing each other. So we have to this is the balance between, it's kind of like a teeter-totter, right? If you think of a teeter-totter, you go up and you go down, and, depending on, each person on either side. And if you have, like, say 2 or 3 people on one side and only one person on the other, it's going to go down on that one and it's going to stay up there. So you're going to be off, right? You're going to be teetering between these energies. The idea is to fluctuate between these two, to find the beautiful harmony between this. So Scorpio is all about, the highest expression of Scorpio is going, like I just said before, going below the surface, trying to figure out what is really going on. However, the shadow could be obsession with that, right? Maybe you're in a partnership where you're kind of suspicious. Maybe you feel they're, aren't being honest with you for whatever reason. So now you're literally obsessed with that. You're checking phone, you're checking, all that stuff. That is like a low expression of Scorpio, because there's obsession then with the mystery versus allowing the mystery to be there, paying attention to the mystery, but not getting so attached to the mystery that you can't see anything else outside of that. So the lowest expression of Scorpio is attachment in all forms. And excuse me, the other thing about Taurus, somebody could say that about Taurus as well too, but how I look at Taurus, it's the stubbornness about Taurus, right? It's a bull. It's like, it's not going to move. But here's the highest value of Taurus. When a Taurus knows, because again, Taurus is ruled by Venus. So she's the goddess, right? She knows her value. She knows what she's worth. When a Taurus knows the value of themselves or what they're doing, they're not going to move, no matter what happens, no matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody does, no matter the authority that somebody outside of them tries to place on them, they won't budge. And that is a beautiful expression of Taurus. So I wonder what this eclipse season is going to bring in for each one of us, and how that is going to be a mirror to the collective, and the collective being a mirror to us as well too. What things are we so attached to that we're afraid to let go of? What relationships? Right? Maybe there's an investment that you want to do. Maybe you know that there's something that you really want to invest in, but you're afraid, to let that money go. You're afraid to put your time into that because you're attached to doing maybe a habit that that is not really serving you, but you're so used to it that it just feels comfortable, right? That's low energy Scorpio. The North Node right here, as we can see here, it's in Taurus, and this North Node is at 13 degrees, the moon, and Uranus is at 16 degrees. This is an element I haven't even talked about yet. Uranus in Greek means heaven. Now, if you've ever done a reading with me, I will generally, if not always, bring out where Uranus is in your chart, because you cannot see this planet with a naked eye. This goes on faith. This is our Dharma. Uranus is, again, in Greek, it means heaven. So I like to think of Uranus as like it's heaven at hand, but Uranus is going to come in and flip everything on its side. Because if we have been living outside of our Dharma in any way that is not aligned to where we are here, our soul path, what we came into this life for, Uranus will bring us back on track. So the farther we are away from that, the more radical it's going to feel in our lives. So keep that in mind when you are paying attention to what's happening in your life and when you're paying attention to what's happening in the collective. So during this eclipse here, the North Node is really, the North Node is our destiny, right? So the North Node energy is trying to encourage us, trying to nudge us towards, where we are to be going here in this lifetime. So again, pay attention to where Taurus is in your chart, because this is happening in whatever house this is. These are the themes that are coming up for you. So emotionally, you are going to feel, either you're going to feel like, yes, I love, like, my life is absolutely going where, yes, this is amazing. And I feel my soul feels fulfilled. Or emotionally, you're going to feel off. You're going to feel very disjointed, and you're going to feel very erratic in your emotions. So use that as a guide, as a gauge for this time that we're in. How close are you? How aligned are you? What choices are you making that has you either closer to your soul path or farther away? Now, I will tell you this, during Libra season, which we just entered into Scorpio, I don't know, this last week. So before that was Libra. Libra is the scales. So during Libra season, you had an idea. You had a knowing whether you are on the right path or not. Because another thing for Libra is karma. So there's action, which is Aries. Aries is completely opposing Libra. So there's this action that Aries has, right? It's like, I'm going to take action. It's very masculine, like first house, I am, is what Aries says. I am this. And so I am going to take action and do something. Libra is the scales. It measures our actions. So we get to say, and you think about the harvest season, right? Aries is the spring. We plant. And then Libra is in the fall. We harvest. Based on our actions in the spring is the harvest that we receive in the fall during Libra season. It's the scales. What actions have you taken? And I will say this specifically especially over this last year, because this eclipse season really is like these few weeks here. However, it spans out where it started last November of 2021, and it's going to go for another year because we haven't finished out these eclipses yet. We're going to get another couple of Taurus-Scorpio axis, like lunar and solar eclipses in 2023. So this has been a process. So you'll know the check-in point was Libra. Like, oh, where am I going? All right, have my actions been, we'll know based on how we feel. Where are the scales tipped to? How was that for you this Libra season, which is just over the last 5 weeks or so? So Uranus is going to shake everything up. I mean, we're right conjunct the moon, and we're only a few degrees away here from the North Node. So expect the unexpected. If your mind can conceive, then it's not generally a Uranus thing, because Uranus, remember, even if we look up to the sky, we can't see Uranus. We can't see him. And so it seemingly brings things from out of the blue. The things that we would never expect to happen is what Uranus brings in. So Uranus is a planet of revolution. It's a planet of change. It's the planet of chaos. It can feel chaotic when we're trying to get back on our path. So think about this. With the elections on November 8th, what could this possibly do? This energy could spark a potential revolution, right? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It doesn't necessarily mean it's good, because it is what it is. However, pay attention to that, and pay attention to how it's sparking a potential revolution in your own life as well, too. So these are the energies of Taurus here, very briefly. But then we have Mercury. Excuse me, I have this cough I've been having over the last couple of weeks and moving through that. But we have Mercury here, we have the sun at 15 and 16 degrees. We even have Venus here at 20. So this is, this is like Venus has been like kind of hidden by the sun here. And she's just coming and breaking away here from the sun. So we're able to finally like feel into our desires again, see our value again, and know what that is. It felt a little bit off. It's okay, and it's normal, because we haven't really had access to, this energy that Venus has. And Venus, again, rules Taurus. It's about our value, how we feel about ourselves. Do we love ourselves? And how do we show up to show ourselves that we love ourselves? What are we spending our money on? What are we spending our time on? Our focus. And so things are going to start to come back into focus as the more Venus separates from the sun. So we have Mercury here, 1 degree away. No, not even, like 8 minutes away from the sun. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. It's how we communicate. So one thing I would say about that is it's opposing these energies here, which is Taurus. Well, Taurus rules the throat. So if Mercury is about communication and he's opposing these energies here, and Taurus rules the throat, pay attention to your communication around this time and the week leading up to this. How are you communicating? Are you communicating from the depths of the truth? Remember, Scorpio likes to go under the surface. And how are you nourishing your own sense of manifestation? This is the throat. Even in human design, it's the throat center, is a center of manifestation. Are you aware of that? Are you using your communication to empower yourself and to empower others? Or are you using your communication to start a war, right, with others? Are you just surfacey type communication and that doesn't feel good to you, all right, well, what are some of the deeper needs that you have that you haven't maybe communicated in your relationships, in your partnerships, in your business relationships, whatever that is? So pay attention to your communication during this time, and pay attention that you're not like, pay more attention to how you communicate during this time than anything else. What are you speaking? Because what you speak will come into fruition. And so do you want that made manifest? Are you speaking negatively? Are you complaining a lot? Or are you finding solutions to the problems that you see? So pay attention and feel the difference. So if I'm going to go through the houses, if you have Taurus in your first house here, expect that you've had an identity shift, or it is coming, or you've had this idea of maybe who you are for a long time, and that's getting shaken up. Because the first house is all about identity. So if you have Taurus here in your first house, then you are going to get, full on identity shakeup. You might even have people treating you differently because maybe they see you in a certain identity that you have not seen yourself as. So who are you? That's going to be a big question that comes up for you. And it probably already has, because through this solar eclipse that we had a couple weeks ago, you had, the questions of, because it was of like, who am I in relationship? Who am I, and how do I relate to my relationships? So those are the themes that are coming up for you. If you have Taurus in your second house, it is all about how you value yourself, finances, self-esteem. Beliefs could come up around, how you felt about yourself, possibly even your whole life, especially over this last year. What is the growth that you've had over this last year around your value for yourself, around how you see yourself, how you show up for yourself, your time, your money, your resources, all of that. So, and have you been in the position to being able to govern other people's finances? And how has that gone? Because again, this is the axis between the second and the eighth house. And the eighth house is about other people's money as well, too. It's also about like philanthropy. It's about death and rebirth. So you're going to have a lot of death and rebirth opportunities here from last year through next year to really figure out who you are and the value that you have within yourself. Third house is communication. It is everything that you do from a day-to-day standpoint in your community. It is how you speak, how you write, how you communicate. Maybe there's something new within the realm of communication. Maybe you're starting a podcast, right? Maybe maybe you realize that you've spoken so harshly in your lifetime and you're trying to fix that, or vice versa. Maybe in human design, you're learning that you have an undefined throat center and that you need to wait for somebody else to ask you so that it can land right. Because maybe in your life, you haven't felt heard, you haven't felt listened to, you haven't felt seen. And this is a way that you're, kind of redoing that and changing those beliefs around how you communicate. Now, again, this is the axis between the third and the ninth house. So you could have had belief changes You could have had a lot of luck, right? Ninth house is the house of luck as well too. But how has that changed your communication? How have you integrated, or how are you integrating a new way of communicating to yourself and to others during this time? So be even more careful for you if you have this in your third house, that you are, if you have Taurus in your third house, that you're really paying attention to how you communicate. Fourth house, a lot could be coming up from underneath in your childhood, old stories of childhood pains, inner childhood healing. And that has affected your career life. What do you still need to take care of that is underneath the surface that nobody else sees except for you? What are those pains that maybe have never really been dealt with, right? How do you feel at home within yourself, within this world, even within your own physical home? Maybe there's some things that you need to do within your home that can show your inner child, that inner self, that you are at home. So this is all about like feeling home in your body. This is ancestors as well too. So there could be some things coming up in your lineage and your ancestral line that need to be taken a look at. Maybe a career choice that you know that you're leaning towards has a lot to do with the themes of the fourth house. Maybe you're realizing that like, oh my gosh, my whole ancestral line was doing this same, career. Maybe you're a healer of some sort, right? Maybe you're wanting to work with plant medicines and you realize like that, oh my gosh, my ancestors in my ancestral line did this stuff as well too. So what are you here in this time to learn about this aspect? That's everything that's happening underneath the surface, back from when you were a child and even before that. Fifth house, this is fun and creativity, children, sex, like fun sex, not like committed sex. This is just joy. This is like, Leo, rules the fifth house. This is about who are you as far as like how you contribute. What is your unique style in this world? And how are you allowing that to influence your networks, influence your social circles? Are you allowing yourself, your uniqueness to shine through this 11th house? Again, remember I'm going on the axes too. Are you allowing that to happen, or are you somehow repressing your light that's in you that wants to shine? Do you have fears around what other people will think, what your social groups will think, what your network of, friends will think if you did X, Y, Z? Because this is about doing it for you. This is about shining in your own unique brightness, not to dim anybody else's, but just to shine, to allow other people to shine too. This is the sun, right? The sun shines no matter what happens every day. You can count on the sun to come up at the, on the western, I guess, horizon. You can, I'm sorry, in the east. So I'm off today. You can count on the sun to rise every morning, no matter what. So how do you rise into your day? What is your unique trait and things that you do? How do you have fun? How can you be like a child again and play? See, if you think about it, this is the fourth house where we deal with our childhood stuff, right? We deal with maybe pains from our childhood, maybe we weren't nurtured enough, things like that. So we learn how to nurture ourselves. We learn to heal these things so that we can move into this fifth house of play and joy and being like a child, like innocence. This is about innocence as a child as well too. So how are you playing and how are you having fun? And do you have networks that allow for that or not? Maybe that needs to change. Sixth house. Sixth house can be tough. The sixth and the 12th house can be a challenging relationship because this has a lot to do with your health. This has a lot to do with your daily routine, your health regimen, and how that is in support of you. This can be just the mundane things of life. What do you do when you wake up in the morning to when you go to bed at night? And how do these things need to change? Do you have a health situation that you need to pay attention to that's coming up to the surface? Maybe you've known about it. Maybe you've had a hint, unconscious kind of, subliminal messages. It's the 12th house that you haven't taken care of. So if you don't take care of it now, it will come out at some point. That's what this eclipse is going to do. It's going to shake everything up. So, and maybe it's nothing bad, right? Maybe it's just like you need to be on a new health regimen and you've wanted to do it for a long time. Well, maybe something will happen where, some symptoms that you're having will push you, that North Node, into doing something completely different. Maybe you've been vegan forever and you're like, oh, I need to do carnivore diet. So that'd be a Uranus type of thing in your sixth house. Just pay attention though to health and your daily routine in the sixth house. Also pets too. Pay attention to pets. If you have any pets, if there's any kind of sickness, or just making sure that they're taken care of. That's all. Just kind of routine stuff. Seventh house, relationships, partnerships, like one-on-one partnerships, like committed. I mean, this is like the house of like, yes, I'm going to work with you, or in a partnership together, and we're going to do this. So if you have, again, Taurus here, you would be a Scorpio rising. So if you're a Scorpio rising, this would apply to you. So seventh house is, again, it's all about relationships. What are you seeing and what aren't you seeing? What is coming up to the surface that needs to be seen, that you have wanted to not see? Whether it's, romantic partnerships, business partnerships, one-on-one friendships, because it's all going to be revealed. And that's the beautiful thing. What are new partnerships that you're going into that are truly aligned with your values? That's the thing. This is all about the relationships that you're in. If you have this, if you're Scorpio rising, will reveal to you, will reflect back to you the value that you have within yourself. If you don't like them, if they're unfair, if there's dishonesty, if there's, things that just don't feel good, because remember, the moon here, this is our emotions, this is our daily focus, right? You'll know. And then you have some work to do around how you see yourself. Eighth house. This is the house of death and rebirth. This is the house of philanthropy. This is the house of inheritance. This is the house of commitments. This is the house of support. How do you have support? How do you support yourself, and what relationships are in your life that you feel supported by? And again, how do you do that for them too? It's all going to tie back to how you feel about yourself. Second house, value, value, value. How you see, like how you love yourself. Finances, other people's finances. Death and rebirth. So if you have a Taurus 8th house, this is, expect more death and rebirth process. But this is really about bringing you up to you valuing yourself in the highest way possible. And this probably started a year ago, maybe even more, but it's going to be more intense over this last year and into this next year. So just go along for the ride, whatever that is for you. Ninth house. Again, these are beliefs. This could be in the most basic form, you could go on a traveling adventure, maybe overseas somewhere. Maybe you get called somewhere. Maybe you're you go on some sort of educational adventure or spiritual, what do I want to say? Adventure, spiritual type of pilgrimage or something like that. That's the ninth house here. Maybe how are your beliefs changing? Maybe you have spiritual beliefs that are changing. They're changing form, that are truly aligned more towards you right now and how you value and really, really see yourself. And how are you communicating those new values for yourself, those new beliefs for yourself? 10th house, career. What is coming into your field that has shown up, over the last year, but now you're like, yes, I am ready to do this now and move forward now. What is being shaken up? And it's probably something that is completely different than what you're doing right now. Maybe you've had an idea about it. Maybe you thought, here's the other thing. Maybe you thought this is something you could never do. And now, because you've had to work so much on how you value yourself, again, remember Taurus is about how you value yourself, how you love yourself, that you're like, yes, I can do this now. And I'm not going to let any belief of mine or anybody else's change this or persuade me otherwise. Again, this is where, remember, the fourth house was the beliefs, inner childhood beliefs. As we start to see ourselves as a healed, whole adult, we move past the wounded child and then into this balancing out a career of purpose and something that we can give back. So be prepared. 10th house, major. This is a pretty cool setting if you have for your life, if you have Taurus in the 10th house right now, because you have Scorpio in the 4th. And I guarantee you over the last couple of weeks, you've had to deal with a lot of stuff, a lot of beliefs that have come up that you thought were true from your childhood that maybe are being, you're looking at them differently now and asking yourself, maybe these weren't really true. So you get to reframe these beliefs so that you can now really move and make and have this great, beautiful purpose in this world through your career without the attachments of the wounded child, right? That just wants to be seen to feel important. No, the highest expression of this house here is to make a difference in the world for the sake of just our soul has to make a difference. Just has to. Has nothing to do with us personally. So if you have this in the 10th house, be prepared for a calling. And you felt it over this last year, and it will continue into this next year as well too. But here's where you get to decide, what do you want to do and take action. 11th house, networks, social, how are these changing for you? Maybe you were involved with people that, completely didn't align with your values because maybe you felt like you had to, or maybe they were values of yours in the past. Maybe this just came to me. Maybe there's a lot of people out there right now that have been in like church circles for so long, or religious types of circles, no matter what religion. And you're like, wait a minute, these don't reflect my values at all. And so I'm finding new people to congregate with. I'm finding a new circle of, a new network of support, a new network that is going to reflect back my uniqueness. Remember this 5th house, and see me for who I am in, within my beautiful light. And I see their light too, because I've already done this 5th house work where I see my own light and know that it can't be diminished by anybody else. And so now I can start to recognize other people's lights too and say, yeah, that's the group I want to be involved in. those are the people that I want to surround myself with. They hold the same values that I hold. So what is changing up for you within this? 12th house. If you're a 12th house or 12th house Taurus, expect to go probably this last year. You've been doing this anyway, longer than that too, but you have subconscious beliefs that have been hidden for a very long time that are relate to your value, how you see yourselves, how you use money, how you don't use money, material possessions, things like that. So this could be, maybe you've been obsessed with material possessions, and maybe now you're in this place of a place of like, no, I need to move to a simpler way of life, because I know it's a value and it's not a lot of things, but it's of small, very nice, things that is what is my value. Maybe it's a place where you've never allowed yourself to have the stuff, right? The things, and you're saying now, yeah, I want to fill my life with, the good things. So if there's anything that is, say you're getting an opportunity, right, to have more of those things or whatnot, but you're like, oh, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. Pay attention to those subconscious beliefs, because this is going to, this has an effect on your health, mental health and physical health. So really go in and take some very good nurturing care for yourself. This could be a good time to get with someone if you have this in your 12th house, if you have Taurus in your 12th house. Do some hypnosis, do some things that are going to go in the subconscious, that are going to access your subconscious, to bring them up to the surface so that you can see them. And then you can ask yourself, gosh, does this align with me and my value for myself? So I just wanted to go around the wheel here for you, just in a very brief way. I hope that was helpful. And then bring in the access points as well too for each one of the houses. So again, just to recap, we have an eclipse, the lunar eclipse, November 8th. Eastern time, you're going to be able to see it in the, what do they call it, the fullest eclipse, like here right around 5 a.m. If you want to go out and see it, it will start earlier than that. This is Eastern time. And as the moon gets lower in the sky, we won't see it. So after about probably 6:30 or so in the morning Eastern time, we won't be able to see it anymore, eclipsed. But anyway, and the fixed signs, if you have planets in Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, or Aquarius, between that 12 degrees up to 20, I guess, since Venus here is at 20, expect some radical movement in your life. And the more you start to put your feet down and stop the movement, the harder it's going to be. So this is where, like, everything is going to come. I mean, everything is going to start to come up from the surface here. All the truths that we know have been down in there. There's going to even be more coming up to the surface. And Uranus brings a special craziness to the mix. I mean, literally this craziness. So go easy on yourself here over the next couple weeks. Don't put pressure on yourself to do anything that it's just a belief system. Just BS, right? And be well, take care of yourself, take care of others during this time, and pay attention, because there are going to be people out there who have no idea what's happening. They just know that they are feeling erratic, possibly because this strong eclipse energy with Uranus conjunct. I cannot truly stress to you how chaotic this next week or week and a half, like this next 7 to 10 days, is going to be. It will be chaotic from a micro and macro level. So just be prepared. Don't freak out. move with it. This is normal. I won't say normal. There's no such thing as normal. But for Uranus to be here, this is expected. Expect the unexpected is the whole thing with Uranus. Expect the unexpected. So if you want to go deeper into your chart to see what other planets are possibly aspecting, I went around the houses, and that just gives you a general idea of the themes coming up. But if we have Mars retrograde as well too, starting today, actually, like right now, as I'm talking. And so we also have that in Gemini. So, we have that at play as well too. This is some major energy. So if you want to go in and do a deeper reading with me, go to my website, erinnesser.com. I'll have it in the description as well too. And make sure that you subscribe to my podcast, leave a review, and just keep listening, and spread it out. If you know that other people might find this helpful, share it. I appreciate it. And I wish you all the best in this wonderful, beautiful, crazy, and chaotic energy of the eclipse. Until next time.